Why don't you purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka? Good.
The Friends of Zeus podcast. Zeus fights John Zeus. Desiree, John Zeus. Here on the Friends of Zeus podcast.
Hello. Welcome back to the Friends of Zeus podcast. This is episode 195. Tonight is going to be a continuation of last week's episode with new developments that have occurred since Trump won by a landslide. I think the final result was 312 to 2. Who the fuck cares?
26. Yeah.
227 maybe. Yeah, so for me, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, like in the world, in the social aspects of things. I feel like people have lightened up a little bit. And it makes sense because a lot of people were like, clearly intending to vote for Trump, but not wanting to make it known just in case, is what I'm thinking. It wasn't me. I was like fucking full bore, proud of what I was thinking, But I feel like that's part of it. I don't know what other aspects are involved in that, but I do feel like basically a lot of people were intending on voting for Trump, but they didn't want to throw their cards out on the table just in case. You know what I mean? Just in case they could be attacked or be held responsible for their beliefs. So that's the thing I've noticed. There's been a lot of appointments since, or projected appointments to Trump's cabinet, which I definitely think is very interesting, especially if we get RFK in there and Josh might come on. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of really in a now we got it. We got what we wanted, this group. Let's see what he does. Hopefully he keeps his word. And again, I've said it before, I think he's too much of a narcissist to not do what he said. You know what I mean?
Well, he has a track record of doing what, of saying he would do something and then doing it when given the opportunity. Some of the picks are kind of surprising me. I don't know, he picked Holman as the borders are, which is not technically a cabinet position. So there's no, he doesn't have to go through the Senate to get approved for that.
Maybe
we'll
that's
see.
a better way to do it,
He's obviously picking people that are, he's kind of like assembling the Avengers. They're not necessarily, they're all people that are loyal to him. They're all people he can count on. That seems to be the thread going through it, which again, I heard, I was reading something where someone was kind of casting aspersions on that. And I'm like, yeah, that's a horrible thing for your president to pick people that are loyal to him.
Isn't that like the whole point?
Isn't that like what you? I don't know. Maybe I just got here. I don't know.
If anything, that was the mistake he made in his first term was hiring a bunch of people that he then had to fire.
Mm-hmm.
Now back then, to in my own little world, I was like, what is this guy, a joker? Why can't he fucking keep anybody? Why is he firing everybody every 10 minutes? And it felt like that. Clearly.
Yeah. He went through a lot of people. Especially for someone saying that his great skill is personnel.
But I'm loving the way it's looking. It's looking like we're gonna have a bipartisan cabinet, which has that ever been done before?
Yeah, I mean, there's been people of other parties in cabinets, but like I said, I think these are people that have walked the walk with him. They're people that have kind of come under the the spotlight, right, from the party press for sure. He has a plan. I mean, I think the big difference with this one is and I read that they were actually surprised, um, as surprised as everyone else that they won in 2016. And he really just didn't have, this is just what I heard, that he didn't have everything kind of put together and ready to go. But they've literally been planning for years for this. And I mean, it made me think, back when we did the episode on Project 2025, where and we kind of just talked about Project 2025 on that, but the idea that I had at that time was I really liked what Trump and people around Trump were saying about how prepared they were and that they had a plan to execute and that it was just like day one's this, day two's this. And I'm like, finally, because that's really what if he learned anything, I hope he learned that is, DC is not beanbag, I mean, you got to walk in and take it. You got to like put your people where they need to be and just go. It's no like dancing around waiting 3 months to get people in there. I mean, they've got 2 years to do this because there's no guarantee. History says the midterms in 26 that we would lose the House or the Senate. So they got a 2 year window. But anyway, I Pete Hegseth, we were just saying before the show, is SecDev. That just came out today.
What's his story? What do you know about him?
Secretary of Defense. He's an analyst on Fox. I mean, he's a writer. He's written a lot of books. Former military. I mean, seems like a great, solid dude. Um, but I don't think he has experience running the most powerful military on the planet. I mean, that's a whole other. But anyway, we'll see. It's interesting.
I think, though, I think one of the most important things in this administration is where he puts RFK. I think it's a lock. RFK is going to be a relatively big wig in this administration, whatever he does. And he's already talking about like firing people left and right. I said it from the beginning, man. RFK is a good, at bare minimum, he's a patriot. He was leaning left. Now he's certainly leaning right if he's considering an appointment on Trump's administration. Tulsi Gabbard, it sounds like with her, I saw an interview, and I want to say it was with Chris Cuomo, and he was sucking up big time. Like his tune has changed. Like
Yeah, he's
180.
He's got to make a living, I guess. How?
But he's like, what position do you think you're having? And here's what I think. I think she's going to get a bigger position than we expected. Because she's like, she was basically like, whatever position, she goes, whatever position I can do the most with. So clearly skirting the subject, maybe it's not locked in, but I have the feeling Tulsi might have a bigger play, or a bigger opportunity to be part of this administration than people are expecting.
How are things going in your hometown, Des? Pretty
Fine.
Has everything just been, I mean, are people sort of like, okay, I mean, now what? Or is everyone just kind of happy or
I'll be honest,
unchanged?
I haven't really gone out in public since the election.
Oh, okay.
The only really places I've been is to my son's school, and
Yeah,
then I went to a restaurant one time, didn't talk to no one except for my husband.
gotcha.
Look at this handsome devil.
I went to the grocery store once,
Yeah,
didn't talk to anyone. So I don't know.
okay.
I don't really know. But
Yeah, but
I mean,
Kansas is the red state, right?
Kansas,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think we've ever been blue.
No,
So
I don't think so. Yeah,
So,
it's sort of like, the dog that catches the car, right? I mean, it's like what it's like now we've got this bumper in our mouth, like now what? But like I said, to go back what Zeus was saying, that's why I am initially impressed just with them having a plan and executing it. Because I
yeah,
really feel like that's what I really want. Like I want results. I want, like I keep saying, I want consequences and I want accountability. And I'm not talking about putting people in jail. I'm just talking about like getting rid of people that need to be gotten rid of. Fired, not gotten rid of, like gotten rid of. Totally
Are
different
you
thing.
are you guys talking about the election still?
Can you believe it?
Man, look, you want to talk about consequences, Mike? Look,
Yeah.
some people have spoken very ill of the supreme leader, and they unfortunately have to go to the
don't call it
re-education
that.
camps, buddy. Okay, they gotta go, and it's going to be very hard for them. But there's been so many people I've met in life
Yeah.
that have turned a horrible thing like prison into a positive experience, and I think
Yeah.
this is going to benefit liberals across the board, whether they're listening to Hulk Hogan, Rob Schneider, RFK, give all these great classes on how they can be a better person and catch up to what's up to date in the world. It's going to
Yeah.
be great. It's going to be
Yeah.
great, man. Either that or they can go in the crystals.
It's
Either
funny
way.
you mentioned Rob Schneider because I've been seeing his little videos popped up, and man, he's kind of an impressive
He
dude. I always thought of him as like the B list fucking actor,
well,
but
he
the little
kind of is, but he was the MC at that thing that I went to with the RFK and Tulsi and Russell Brand. He was the MC for that at the
Oh, yeah.
down on the mall. And
and
he
He
was
was at
good. He was
the
funny.
him
RNC a
is
long time ago.
he's
Oh,
not
that's right.
he's not talking about politics. He's talking about free speech is mainly the thing that he's going with. And good for him, man. I
Yeah.
gained a lot of respect for him in the last like year or so that he's been popping up. He
Shoot,
seems like a
Zeus, I
good.
gained a lot of respect for you watching that last upload you guys did.
Yeah.
Mike, I
Oh, yeah.
always, see him being a bastion for the, everybody on the right. But Zeus, you were going toe to toe with it.
Well,
Yes, you too. I
I
was
don't want
rather
to.
impressed with y'all.
I don't want to beat up Tor too much. I felt like I might have been a little aggressive with him. My thing is, and this is sincere. He has a habit of asking questions that lead to the answer he wants to give. And my thing and if he listens to this, I'm just going to say, dude, you're a friend. You don't have to guide us down that path. That's not what we do here. We talk openly. We listen to what each other is saying, and maybe we come up with a new, different perspective than we had before. But when you're guiding a conversation to the answer that you want to give, there's no evolution. You know what I mean? And that was kind of he's done it before, and I get it. He's a smart guy. He probably hangs around. He probably hangs around with people that are less intelligent than me. He's clearly intelligent, and he has a certain way about him where his diction, his cadence,
Well,
he comes across as mild, but then he says these things, and then he's like walking you down this road, and it's like, dude, you're amongst friends. You don't have to do this. Disagree. That's fine. But
well,
don't try and make us answer a question so that
I
you hit us with your canned answer.
we just lost Josh. He
Oh,
can't handle it.
you guys didn't lose me. I just got to walk away from the computer for a second, grab some.
The
I'm listening.
No, I like Tor. I think he's a
Okay.
bright guy. I want us to be more like posing organic questions. Am I wrong in that assessment?
No, I got you.
That's
And
an organic question. Is that the Titanic behind you, Mike?
No, I was trying to figure out what boat it is. It's just a picture of a.
I think
I
it's
can
the one
kind
that
of
hit the
Well, I
bridge
think
in
it's a
Baltimore.
ship.
read it.
Not
A
boat.
ship.
It's
Yeah,
ship.
it says what it is here, but I can't quite make it out.
And it's probably backwards, even if you could make it out.
And I can't find the mouse. I couldn't find my extension cord for my computer. It's a disaster.
Shame.
So give us your takeaway from the election night. how it was for you. I mean, I know you were happy, but
Um, yeah, it was. I really expected more shenanigans. We
Hmm.
are seeing in Michigan right now, like there's new votes coming and stuff like that, and it looks like Democrats are going to take the House and Senate overall. But nobody really
In
cares
Michigan?
because Trump. I think it's I know in Michigan, but I think it's actually going to be nationally. They'll have a lead. And I don't know if I don't know.
I think the
I'm
Senate.
just kind of exhausted with all this. You know,
Yeah.
it's been so long, and then you see people like Joe Rogan. Man, I can't stand Joe Rogan, but you
wow.
know, watching like Theo Vaughn go on his show, and it's like he just this is just kind of the attitude of people that are finally getting into the MAGA like whole atmosphere now.
Right.
It's like this whole enlightening experience. Like just watch the episode with Theo Vaughn on there. It's just like he goes and every single MAGA talking point, it's like, oh, look at me, I'm part of it now. And that's just kind of what I see. It's like, yeah, man, we just kind of been here for all these years while everybody else just called us fascist, racist, sexist, and the list goes on and on and on. It's just, I'm exhausted with all this, man. I want Trump to be in, and I just want good policies to happen and America to go back to what it should be.
I think it's a bit refreshing that you know,
Oh, yeah.
what just one day post election, you see all these, like even CNN was talking about, well, how did this happen? Let's you know, dissect how did Trump win? Well, it's because the Democratic Party sucks, and they're most of America doesn't matter what party you know fall under, is really sick of being called names. They're sick of being preached to. They're sick of the fact that, you know, their Maslow's hierarchy of needs is not met.
Hmm.
Like the so why are we talking about social issues when fucking regular issues aren't? And
Yeah.
you know, I think that, you know, I think they're starting to see that, you know, you can't just preach something to people if the main issues, like I said, they're the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If your basic needs are not met,
Well,
what else is worth talking about?
it's
It's not.
it's almost like it really is like the emperor has no clothes. That's kind of the way I felt because like what Josh was saying with people all of a sudden kind of coming on board, and I get the frustration. I do welcome them in. I'd rather have more people. So I'm okay with that part of it, but I get the sentiment for sure. But the thing that I see is it's like the party really thought that their dominance of the media, the entertainment industry, academia, the propaganda micro, or speakers that they've got blasting out, because they totally own that or have owned that.
You
It
know,
only
for
goes to a
me,
certain point. I mean,
I
people are
mean,
more
I'm
united
still a
than
registered
we
Democrat.
thought.
I,
Yeah,
so for me, again, I'm a registered Democrat. I don't intend to change it. I'd
yeah,
like to see a Democratic candidate come in that I like and I feel is viable. But so there's this one TikTok video or Instagram Reels, whatever. But it's this African American woman, and she's sitting in her car, and this sums up everything about the Democratic Party for me in a nutshell. She's like, "Why did this happen?" She's like shaking the steering wheel, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Why do they hate me?" And that's what gets me. It's like this isn't fucking about you.
I
This
mean, it is a
is about
little bit.
the world. No, to her
It,
it,
it
but I don't give a shit about you. I mean, even the people in this room, if I didn't agree, it's still not about you. It's about the future of this nation. And how deluded can you be to think that all of this that just happened, 312 fucking electoral votes, was about one individual. And that's where I think my problem with the current Democratic Party is it's all about individual problems. It's not about the grand scheme of things in general. Everybody is taking this into their own little problems, and they're not thinking about the big problems like children dying in other countries, and I mean 18-year-old soldiers. Because for me, I turned 54 today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Zeus.
Thank
Scorpion.
you. Um,
Yeah.
Scorpion.
but for me, a 25-year-old is a kid. And so let's say 18 to 25, these kids in the military are dying. That's what matters to me. The two things that made me go Trump all day long was stopping wars and the border, which are they're kind of
Well, that's like I said, Maslow's, it's
security,
Hierarchy.
Security?
yeah.
Safety, food, and like love or something like that. The basic needs, shelter. So if you can't afford to pay your rent, if you can't afford to go to the grocery store, if people are coming in the border, if there's wars everywhere, it's not there that high, that the base is not there. It's not meant.
Yeah.
How can you be secure when unknown people are in our country?
Well, and that's a big thing, Zeus. Like when I was saying, it's a little bit like, oh, why do you hate me? Well, because these people, the people that have continued to vote for this,
Oh.
they made it so our country is literally invaded, and they've already started. Some of them have started to leave. We're gonna have to go and drag some out. Crime isn't prosecuted. Things are unaffordable. Like that's saying all the necessities of life, and is really to the point where the idea that's been looming for like some sort of domestic conflict is a possibility. And ever since election night, it almost just feels like a breath of fresh air, because I feel like we were all on the brink of just being at each other's throats, and then watching all the wine videos where everybody's just crying. It's nice, but there's still a lot we got a mess to clean up, man. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot.
Easily the most important election in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
That includes Reagan being in there. I mean, do I think Trump is as good as Reagan? No. But
Well, me and Josh don't know a Reagan presidency.
Yeah.
So,
oh wow,
no.
that's fucked up.
I'm a 90s baby, like 1990.
But oh wow,
Oh,
yeah.
damn. I can no longer say I'm the youngest one here. Man.
He's
I'm
a
just
baby.
a boy.
Just a boy.
But
Oh, there?
so I think, Mike, to give you our perspective, when I was a kid, when Reagan was being elected, he was Ronald Reagan. He was going to bring us to nuclear war. A lot of fear of what this guy's going to do. Is that a fair assessment, Mike?
I mean, I think for some people, and when I was growing up, I didn't really. I mean, the Cold
Care.
War, I kind of was freaked out about that, but I looked at him as a, definitely larger than life figure, someone that, definitely felt like a leader to me. Like, oh yeah, man, that guy, I trust that guy. I was a
I
kid.
was
I mean, it's not like I
terrified.
was an adult or anything. I was like 12 or whatever. I was 16 when he left. But I mean,
I was mortified that he was going to be president. Day
wow.
after, I think the day after had just come out. Are you guys familiar
Well,
with the movie called
yeah.
Day After?
Yeah, I
So
mean the
it
thing
was
is he had been trying to um his his policy was to build up the US military so that no one would fuck with us at all. And what had been going on before that was appeasement and trying to make these treaties and we'll both do this. And he realized, or other people would realize, that Russia or the Soviet Union was doing very poorly financially. And we were, at the beginning of the 80s, we're really ramping up. And he's like, we'll just crush them economically. And that's pretty much what he did. I mean, the arms
so
race was we could do it and they couldn't.
well.
That's what
So
crushed them.
let's give a little context here. So the day after, it might have been right at, it might have even been after his presidency, but I want to say it was right before. So the day after was this movie about nuclear war happened, and it was like following the people around that were surviving, and it was very much a fear mongering kind of movie.
Oh yeah.
It was actually great. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it
It
was
was a made for TV movie.
Yeah, it was pretty deep, and it was all, it was all like it turned the American society into Eeyore
But
from Winnie the Pooh. It's like, oh no, everything's gonna end.
but to a lesser extent, because the media, although it was bad, it wasn't what it is now back then. It's the same thing. It's like they would say, "Oh, Reagan, he's not smart. Oh, he doesn't read enough. He doesn't really read any books. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's gonna press the red button and blow up the world." It was all just this crap. And I think a lot of people, when they saw that happening with Trump, at least people of a certain age, they were like, okay, I've seen this playbook before. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. But if you go back and look at, like, really until he got shot a year into his presidency, a lot of that stuff ended. But in 1981, his first year, but until he got, it was just like, look at this dummy guy. He's a very intelligent man.
Oh man, they feared him, man. I wasn't it the Iran hostage situation? Like literally, he gets elected, they free the hostages like day one of his presidency. They're like, we don't want none of that. Yeah,
But
he was kind of
but
badass.
but I think, you look at, Trump going in and just how it seems like the foreign issues, everyone's kind of cooling their jets. Everyone's kind of waiting to see what
Hey,
happens and keeping their powder dry to a certain extent.
they've already like Hamas has already talked about a ceasefire.
Hmm.
And God,
Russia's already
he,
like,
Putin was
maybe
like,
we should stop.
yeah, Putin was like, I saw something with him where he's like, I don't know what he's got planned, but I'm open to listen. It's like just this, it's kind of amazing. Like, you know what? I don't have a problem with get along with Putin. That's what I want. Friends close, enemies closer. Fine. If he
Yeah,
can,
usually you don't bomb your friends.
but we haven't
Usually,
bombed, we,
you
we
know,
haven't bombed Russia.
that's what I'm saying. You China or anywhere else, North Korea. Usually you don't bomb your friends' countries.
Exactly.
Usually,
So
sometimes it
if you get
happens.
along,
Can't Sometimes can't
And
help it.
The
interestingly,
problem, the
yeah,
he's
problem we
talking,
run
I guess
into.
that's
Oh
true.
god,
I'm sorry, he's talking about tariffs with China, and China's like, yeah, we're open for talks. It's like he's literally saying, we're going to
Well,
cut back some of the money you're making. And
look,
there's
I
still,
think I think the diplomacy wise, I think a lot of people because look, Trump's a guy. He's not like whatever. But I think a lot of people are just like they don't want to be first. Like they just don't want. They want everything to seem cozy and okie dokie. There's a lot of people that are just going to want to run out the clock with him. He's going in as a lame duck. Whether or not Vance or someone else takes over. It's definitely a movement. If there's one thing that seemed obvious to me
Can you imagine if Uncle
after
Vance is the president? Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
that,
he is
but
dreaming.
Mm.
but I'm just saying, at this point, I feel like
I'd be the
um
first cabinet member signing up, man.
for JD Vance as president.
Yeah,
Whatever
his
it
cabinet.
takes to get there, right, Des?
Whether it's building the cabinetry or being in the cabinet, I don't care.
Des, what is it about Vance that gets you all
I don't
swooning? I
know.
think he's got a lot of
Just that.
soft features. He's got a round face. I don't. I'm not a
Maybe it's the
fan.
round face. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know. He reminds me a lot of Craig. Speaks well. Is there something about a man that speaks well? It just
Yeah,
gets me. I don't know.
he's got nice eyes, right? Vance.
Yeah.
They're like gray, blue, or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think you're looking a little too closely at him, Mike. I have no idea what color your guys are.
I just fall in. They're like pools of like
Me and
mirror
Usha could be
pools.
sister wives. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
So, but what I'm
Whatever.
saying is, I feel like in this election, like in the first one, it was like Trump, 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 Trump. And this, it's like it's bigger than him. It's even bigger than him. This movement, what just happened, where you had a population that had been under constant propaganda for years, like put their finger in the bureaucracy's face and was like, no.
Nope.
You know how rare that is? In human history for a population to rise up peacefully against like an established bureaucracy and be like, no, doesn't happen very often. But it's more
Peacefully, I
than the
don't think it
man.
happens at all.
What?
It gives an
Peacefully, I don't think
eerie
it happens at all.
Yeah, I don't think it happens at all. That's a good point.
it gives an eerie sense to how much the media had control over everyone.
But yeah, no one. Everyone's a victim of it. Even if you don't believe it, it still gets in your head. It's still something you have to process and deal with. I mean, yeah, I feel like I just kept having this feeling like there was going to be another shoe that was going to drop all the
I
time.
know.
And yeah, like I said, I just wanted to execute and get through this. I feel like the positive thing that I'm kind of sensing is the media has finally just jumped the shark. I mean, I don't know how anyone, I mean, even people that love MSNBC or love the people on MSNBC or agree with them, even those people, they've got to be like, man, how could they be so wrong? Like, why am I wasting my time watching this thing? I'm not informed. I'm not
Have,
knowing things. I mean,
have you
even
guys
yeah,
have you guys heard anything more about Elon Musk buying CNN?
no, I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, I mean, talking about the media and stuff, would you
Yeah.
guys trust CNN if all of a sudden you got Elon Musk just walking in there with a cigar saying, "Let's get to work, y'all"?
I mean,
Like,
I think CNN would be like, not for sale.
yeah, I mean, I
yeah.
don't know. I guess Turner's out of it. I'm not, but I mean, the thing is, I will trust them when I mean, here's the thing with journalism. They have to do it first. They have to prove themselves. There's no blind trust. There's no, you know, you got to see how it plays out.
Is that
And
the one?
none,
Is CNN the network that 60 Minutes is on?
No,
no,
6 minutes
it's
is ABC, I think.
even though they share Cooper. Cooper
CBS.
goes both ways with CNN and CBS.
Well, it doesn't really matter. But the fact that I mean, it's a known fact that they changed that they blatantly
Yeah,
edited that in, like it was
yeah.
not like they cut the word, like
Yeah,
it,
it's horrible. I mean, and the thing is, I
like.
mean, I used to watch 60 Minutes when I was a kid, like if you
Mhm.
can believe it. And now I'm just like, they just erased 50 years,
Has it ever
not
been
even
true?
50 years because they've been jerks for a long time.
What did
But they
Michael
just
Jackson really say? What did,
yeah,
whoever say?
but they just flushed that reputation right down the old toilet bowl with that. It's just amazing
Do you
to
think
me.
that kid got fired? That kid that accidentally put the real clip out at first?
I don't know. I don't know.
But he'll have a lawsuit in about 2 months.
But these people, like again, these people that write for the New York Times and the Post and are on MSNBC and these talking heads, how is anyone at all going to be listening to them about anything anymore? I mean, seriously, that's pathetic. I mean, those shows need to like they're just gonna die on the vine. I mean, really, it's embarrassing. I mean, I'm embarrassed for them, just how horribly they just made themselves the fool, and knowingly so. So I really don't feel bad for them. I mean, they know what they were doing, but
Well, I mean, that's looking back though. What is it that you guys are excited about for what's coming?
Not
yeah,
so much bullshit, not so much being preached to.
not having we said this on an
My
earlier,
401k getting better.
and also not having to watch like politics and what's going on like a freaking hawk all the time, like having some trust that things are being done in an appropriate way, because I have zero trust right now, like zero. Like I'd love to build some of that back up again and not have to think about politics all the time. And we can go back and making this podcast about cars like we were originally planning.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the original plan,
No, it
but
wasn't. It was my original plan, but no one else wanted to do that. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, just positivity. Like people, I like seeing flags flying and people singing the national anthem, and that never really stopped. But just an appreciation for what an awesome country we are and how special we are. Not we individually. I'm saying we as a country, the Constitution, our form of government. I mean, it's really remarkable. And again, this election, when I try to zoom out from it, it's such a perfect example of it. It's really amazing. It really is amazing. I mean, you're talking 312 electoral votes. I mean, over 300. That's a landslide these days. I mean, it's not Ronald Reagan numbers. Took the Senate. Looks like they're going to keep the House. Got the popular vote. Who just completely decimated the entire party. Like, I heard someone ask this yesterday. Like, who's the leader of the Democrat Party right now?
We don't know.
Nobody. It's like
Yeah.
She's a disaster. Schumer, he's out of power. Obama, no one wants to hear from that guy anymore. Just, Clinton, no. Hillary, absolutely not. I mean, all their talking heads, all their people that they were pushing in front, Kamala Harris. I mean, where is she? I mean, is she like in a gutter
Yeah, where
in
is
front of a
she?
theater somewhere, drinking out of a paper bag? I mean, where in
Hopefully
the
she's
world?
maybe trying to run the country for a little bit. I don't know. Did you guys hear that there somebody in some seat somewhere was like calling for Biden to just step down and let her be president?
I didn't get the point
let
of
her
that.
have what she wants for just
Well,
these few months.
I'm curious about Biden's staff because Harris isn't running the country. I get she's the vice president, but and that's just for optics. Like, oh well, she's in charge of. No, the people that are working Joe Biden like a walking puppet. They're the ones calling the shots and actually deciding policy and stuff like that. And
Exactly.
I'm just very curious to see what kind of jobs those people are going to have in a month and a half. I wonder if it's still going to be in Washington. I'm willing to bet it is.
It's that's curious, like in government or at least in media, somewhere writing a book.
Well, that's another thing that Trump's proposing. We're talking about the media. If somebody works in government, then they're going to have a 7-year cool down period before they can work for the opposing side. So I think that's kind of fascinating. That's going to be nice. But who the hell is running the country, man? I've been wondering this for 4 years.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's like I want to read the book one day. It's probably going to be like 10 years before it comes out.
If right now, if you walked into the White House, I imagine it would just be like a bunch of monkeys like running around. Like papers would be everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like monkeys would be breaking pencils in the hallway.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel like it probably is right now.
I mean,
and then there's just somebody sitting, probably Biden, in the Oval Office, just sitting there like,
well,
monkeys on the desk taking a shit. Like,
what
are we doing?
How would they ever get a job? I mean, that's a good point. I mean, with this on their resume, who's going to hire them? That's a very, very good point. Like, you guys sucked. I mean, why would we hire you?
But Mike, that's what I'm going to be trying to focus on, moving forward with this, because it's like this whole idea of, what's next? It's like, man, these people are still among us.
Yeah.
There's still half the country that are extremely crazy. I mean, you got women shaving their heads and walking around. I thought it was just an internet thing,
because
and I've seen them in real life.
Have you really?
Oh,
I've not seen anyone.
Yeah, wow. I've seen one,
we don't play that shit in Kansas. Nah, fuck that.
And it wasn't even like it, somebody with like going through chemo or nothing. I'm talking like straight chunks here, chunks there. My wife's seen one when she was driving to the grocery store. Like, these people, they exist among us. That's where I want to shift. I want to go and focus on
Kansas women.
These crazy people.
We're happy to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Honestly, that's what we do. We do out here. I don't know.
The way the good Lord intended.
Not me. I don't want to be barefoot or pregnant. Maybe barefoot, but I'm definitely not in the kitchen.
Barefoot babies running around. Everyone loves barefoot babies.
I'll go mow the lawn barefoot.
Everybody wants to be barefoot and Grubhub.
There you go, DoorDashing.
Look, I mean, I will quibble a little bit on the percentage because I've done a lot of thinking about this. I don't think it's half the country that's crazy. I mean, there's a little less than half the country.
Clearly not. I think half the country was scared.
It's a very loud, small group of a few percent, but because of social media, they get seen everywhere. That's what.
Well, if you look at that map, that goes around with a lot of the red and a little bit of blue, that's like, Republicans, we have better coverage than Verizon.
Yeah.
Well, the blue is like the big cities,
Yeah.
Like that's where.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it comes from, like the bigger bigger metropolitan areas, the places where ideas are more accepted. And I'm not saying they're not accepted in rural areas. I'm just saying,
What's a denser
said-
population?
rural areas, we got to eat.
Yeah.
But I think Wichita actually might be a little blue on that map. But
I did see a little blue on Wichita. I did.
I
was
know
looking.
it's because it's a big city, like it's
Yeah.
Kansas City, Wichita, and then there's another funny one. It's like they say there's no perfect state, and then they show like that same map, and then they show Oklahoma, pure red, not a
Really?
damn speck of blue.
No county at all.
No, and I just
Wow.
think it's funny.
That is funny.
You know, so I was talking to a girl tonight while waiting to come on the show, and she voted Kamala. And sure, again, I'm feeling like there's more civil discourse now. Maybe it's just me. But the thing that she said and this bothered me, women's rights, I get that. That's fine. I understand the concern there. But then she said she was worried about gay rights, and I don't think I've really heard any anti-gay rhetoric out of.
There really
Donald
isn't
Trump
any.
is the most gay-friendly president in history. He's the first president to support gay marriage upon entering office.
And that's
There
I
you
was
go.
kind of like,
I don't even think gay rights are like, who cares anymore?
Yeah.
you know?
What
Yeah.
about human? We're all just people.
Yeah.
Who you have sex with isn't a right.
No one
It's
cares.
not.
No,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of people just want to have sex with each other. It doesn't even matter what it is. Like,
I
Right.
do.
yeah,
honestly,
my attitude is
whatever
always
feels good. I guess I don't these days. Shit.
if you want to romanticize things, my attitude has always been that it's hard enough to find love in the world today. If that's where you're finding love, good.
Everything you got.
Happy
Yeah.
for you.
I'm just saying, I don't think anyone cares. I mean, I don't think Gen X ever really did care. Maybe previous generations, but
And yet our generation was the one that elected Clinton, and he lifted the question. So,
mm,
you know, but that was more of like a rights thing. That was like good, fine,
But-
you know.
yeah. I mean, like I said, everyone that says like, "Oh, there's so much chaos and he's so horrible and he's gonna," I'm like, can you show me some evidence? Because I don't see that. I see someone that's like, trying to make things more efficient and get America back to the point where we're dealing from a position of power and not being cowed by all these different forces in the world.
Did you guys watch the Flagrant podcast that Trump was on?
Yes.
No, I did not.
No.
The funniest, I think that was the best one that he did out of all the podcasts he did. But it was so funny because the guy, what's his name? Alex Schultz?
Andrew Schultz.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it was like, so I just got a question, fuck, what is his son's name? It just left my brain.
Barron.
Barron. Yeah, he's like, Barron's 18 now. How you really feel about these abortion law when he's just gonna let him run free in New York City? And it was just a funny question. It was really funny. That's all I had to say about that.
And he
Well,
probably
I like
answered
it.
it.
I like that he answered it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I don't know that he answered. I'm just guessing because he usually doesn't
He
shy
said
away
something
from
about,
anything.
well, that's New York's problem or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, man.
It's kind of a great answer. My biggest takeaway from this is that he learned from the first time around that he's a lot more sedate now. He's not. I mean, he's still. I'm 110% this and 200% that, but he's not obnoxious with it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, at least politically, this is like one of the baddest ass moves you could ever see in your entire life in politics. I mean, this guy was president, got totally taken down, 2 impeachments, all these indictments. I mean, everyone's after him. They're trying to shoot him. He gets up, raises his hand. I mean, completely
Yeah, the guy
bananas.
took a bullet.
And then he
All
runs
the court cases, all the shit talking,
all the stuff,
things.
runs again, and crushes
They
it.
ran
I mean,
they are in a whole nother campaign on just shit talking, basically.
Yeah. He comes in with a finale of working at McDonald's and driving a garbage truck.
Yeah.
Like, how much more American can you
Yeah.
get than that? That
That's
is
what I'm
so
saying.
awesome.
How do you
It's-
like my garbage truck?
Yeah.
And like I've worked at McDonald's. He was actually doing the fries the right way, like a little bit of salt. Like
Little
he
shake, little salt.
fucking hey, man.
Can you imagine if you just rolled into McDonald's? First of all, I probably wouldn't have gone to McDonald's that day because I bet you that line was whoop
Oh yeah. I'm
all
sure it was
twice around the
staged.
building.
I'm sure it was
But-
staged.
Could you imagine if you just rolled into the Mickey D's? Yeah, you order your shit and you're just like, holy shit, that's
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
I'm just saying. I don't see how anyone has a bigger story than that. I mean, Alexander the Great, maybe. I mean, how far in world history, as far as like, I don't know.
I mean, the closest
Just-
McDonald's reference to a president would have been Bill Clinton stopping, like going on his jogs and stopping by for a quarter pounder.
Yeah.
I gained a lot of respect for Clinton recently. It was, I forget which Rogan it was, but there was this great the guy was just a master of his words. Like he was in this I wish I could pull it up. He was just getting attacked and his answers were like just so benign. Like what I want is good things to happen. Like he was just brilliant. I'd love if I can find it. I'll pull it up on another episode. But Clinton was a fucking master, man.
Oh, Zeus, I would keep the admiration down a little bit. There's a certain list coming out soon, and he's gonna be on it, man.
That doesn't take away from the fact that he was a
Oh, it absolutely does. You can't do that act and then still just be like, oh yeah, good dude. No, that man is going to
You mean Epstein?
have a yes.
And
The-
maybe
and-
Diddy. Maybe both.
maybe Diddy.
Man,
I feel
You
like
think-
Diddy is Epstein 2.0.
it's just a
maybe-
Hollywood version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Uncle Vance for a second. So,
Let's
talk about him.
Don't you mean
So-
Daddy Vance?
no, Uncle, it's still Daddy DeSantis and Uncle Vance.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So,
The uncles
You
are
know-
always curvy ones anyway.
what? Exactly. More uncles have gone farther than daddies. I'm just saying. In history,
I don't even know where we're going.
I don't know. Guys. Cut
He's
that
getting
part
a little
out.
flustered here.
Anyway,
Oh,
as I
man.
was saying, so during the whole, during election stuff, you don't really ever. Well, I don't ever really pay attention to the vice president because who really cares? Honestly, I mean,
Right.
you're not voting for them.
Yeah.
They just come with it. But if you really go back and watch some of these interviews that Vance did, they are fucking hilarious. He's brilliant. Like the way he just comes back, they can't fuck him up. Like they can't like the way he elegantly gets pissed off and he just tells you something about yourself right in front of your face on national television and it's great. It's wonderful. Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Next
No,
president.
He's phenomenal. I fully anticipate him running next election. Probably not even any opposition. He's quite brilliant.
And then
Oh,
he's got Candace
DeSantis will
Owens with him.
oppose.
What's that?
But
What about
Candace Owens-
DeSantis?
I don't. DeSantis
I think
doesn't.
DeSantis would be great too. I don't know.
I'll
Look.
take Vance all day long.
Look, let's get through the next few years. Like we just went through this. This is like my
Yeah.
daughter, like the day after Halloween, she starts talking about what she's gonna dress as next Halloween. I'm like, just
All I'm
give it a
saying is I'm
second.
just looking for some more Vance interviews, forward to some more Vance interviews because
Vance
they make
TV.
me smile. Vance TV right over here.
I gotta find some Vance pictures to slip into this episode. like the zoom, the slow zoom in, you know.
Just do like a little edit, put him as like a bodybuilder or something with his
Yeah.
face.
I would say
Dancing.
that it was
Hold on.
almost like he was running for president himself with these interviews. Like the guy really is a very good public speaker or interview. Yeah, interview is more
It reminds me kind of like how Obama was a phenomenal speaker.
amazing.
Like,
Mhm. I don't know. I was dreading the time between the election and inauguration, and then the next day when I could see like how big the margin was. That chilled me out a lot, you know,
Yeah.
as far as it being like crazy time. Biden was like, we're gonna have a peaceful transition and whatever I could do, which is what they always say. You're supposed to say that. That didn't happen last
I
time.
thought Biden said, "Did I win?"
Yeah, he said, "Where's the
Man,
mustard?" Yeah,
Biden's little 2 minute speech was fantastic. It was one of the funniest things I've ever watched. He just comes out, oh hey guys, she did a good job. She
yeah,
ran it hard, and we lost, sometimes we lose, but we're
yeah.
handing Trump this booming economy. Like he knows what's coming. He knows it's all gonna be good things. He's like, we did it all, it's all us. Just
It's
give
all
us the
us.
credit. All right, we're
I
walking, just give it to us. I
I
loved it. I thought it was too funny.
I
I
do.
think
Yeah.
I think this election may have cemented Republicans for a couple terms in the future.
If
They
they can
really
pull it
made
off,
a mockery of the Democratic Party.
if they can pull
I
it
mean,
off,
what
I think the electorate is like, if they do well, it's going to be awesome. If they shit the bed, it's not going to be real awesome because
I
people
don't
are
know.
fed up.
I think the
well, I mean that,
Republicans.
and the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like we've been saying for a couple months now that no matter what, we wanted it to be big, whoever wins. We wanted it to be inarguable who the winner is. And what this tells me is there's a lot of people that I may have even talked to that are like, no, 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 but woman, no, no, no. Like, just all Kamala, person of color, blah, blah, blah. Like, those are not, to me, those are not the things that you should be
Voting for.
focusing on. You should be focusing on healing our nation. And all they were doing, they were like salt on the wound, constantly. Again, I'm ashamed for voting for Biden. I did it because Trump is kind of an asshole, but he's less of an asshole now. I'm really
People can
fighting
change.
what?
Yeah, but you know what?
But I'm
People
really
can
At,
change.
liking him, not
does he
liking
have to
him.
be a nice guy to fix the
Right.
shit?
Exactly. I don't, that's the thing. I don't need someone to be, and I don't even think he's not a nice guy, but I'm saying I don't
I'm starting
need,
to think he is a nice guy, and I'm
yeah.
fighting it. I'm really fighting it because the
You
disdain
like
that I
him?
have.
I know.
He
I,
he's he's coming across a lot more likable. And the Rogan episode, I disagree with you wholeheartedly, Josh, about Rogan. I think Rogan is great. I think
Man.
I think
Oh,
he's great. And yes, he did endorse it at the last minute, but he's got a $500 million contract. So he waited until, sure, wait until it's safe. But he was never like putting Trump down. I mean,
I tell you what, you watch the latest one with Theo Vaughn, and then
mhm.
watch any of the ones he did with Alex Jones, and just look at, especially the first one. You look at how left he goes, and he even says, "Oh, well, the thing that got me is it came after me." And it's like he went with every narrative. He would shut up about anything that was not okay to say. But now that it's okay to say, now we got the great Donald Trump coming in. So everything's okay to say because now we're going to have the Internet Bill of Rights. Now we're going to
Mhm.
have all these new
Right.
things where you can the
And
protections on free speech. And so now it's okay to have thoughts and feelings. But it wasn't when people were confrontational about it and taking jobs and money from people.
Josh, I'm so
That's
glad
my
we're
issue.
recording this because, yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan aside, what you just said is so, I agree. It's like I don't want people to forget what we just went through for the last few years. I mean, people like looking over their shoulder, like not talking about certain things. They don't want to lose their job, all that stuff, all the COVID crap, whatever. I don't want that to be forgotten. I mean, I remember it pretty damn clearly. It was
It
just last
already is
week.
though.
Yeah. Oh, what about like Biden, man? I do believe the conspiracy theory that he voted for Trump and is super happy about all this. I
Dude,
totally
Biden didn't
believe
leave
it.
the nursing home. Come on. Did he actually vote? I'm sure he did because
I
it's a
I think
publicity
he
thing,
pulled the
but
lever for Trump, man, because look, here's the thing. If there if there's anything about Biden and a lot of these politicians, they're all about this guy, you know what I mean? And the thing is, if Kamala won, Biden would be in the history books as like, the retarded old guy that they kicked out and sent to the knackers and brought in Kamala. But if Kamala loses, then it's like, wow, they should have stayed with old Joe. You know what I mean? He can ride
It,
that into his
but
legacy forever.
isn't that worse though?
I
That
know.
he got kicked out by somebody
Totally.
who didn't even win.
I know. I know. It's horrible. I'm just saying, I think
I
he's
got a
happy.
question.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just tell America the truth? Like,
Women.
Because they
why was
never
it
tell
so
America.
hard to be like, for somebody to
I
come
got an
out
answer for that. Here's
and be
why.
like,
Here's why. Because if they had done that, she would be president, and she would, and she, if she did win, she'd only be allowed one. Is my
But,
understanding correct?
yeah.
So to, I mean,
No, she could go.
that's
She could
the
do it
only thing that
twice.
makes sense is
Well,
by
I mean,
doing it this way and letting her be president ad hoc, that she would have a chance at 2 terms. Which that doesn't make any sense.
No, she could
no,
run for
that's
2
not what I'm
terms.
saying. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, why didn't they just say, listen, America, President Biden has Alzheimer's or whatever,
Because
the
they knew
Parkinson's,
before he was even elected.
whatever
He
the
was,
fuck he has. 3 months into it, why didn't, I mean, like, honestly, why didn't they just be like, listen, we didn't
because they
know,
lied.
now we know.
yeah,
It's a
they would have to
problem. We can't have,
retroactively
we
make
can't
up for that.
have
Yeah.
people with memory issues running the country. We got to figure this out.
Well, the argument to
Let's
that is
figure this out.
Reagan.
Like, why didn't they,
Reagan
like,
was
people,
Alzheimer's for like the last year.
people have, cognitive decline as they get older into their, most of the time. It's not, or some
Right.
even have it further, dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever. Like, it's not a,
He was literally an empty suit that they could use and abuse. This was a good thing to them.
Yeah.
Like that they enjoyed this. They wanted this. Like we still talking earlier, we still don't know who's running the country right now. That's how they want it. Whoever
Yeah.
they are, like whoever's actually running things,
the deep
they,
state.
I
Yeah.
don't even think it's the deep state. I
The
think it's just a
blob.
handful of just people like, hey man, check this shit out.
The
Because we
monkeys.
can. Yeah, hey, they're the monkeys shitting on the desk. They're all there. That's by design. Like they had the perfect opportunity. They got the Joe Biden, who's just an old man who's been dead for years. He's just walking around still. You got Kamala Harris, who's a cackling nut job. There's no actual people that wanted to do the job, so it's just we'll show up and do it.
I mean,
And that's what we've been
Maybe
dealing
that's,
with.
maybe that's true.
it is nice to not have to deal with hearing her and about her anymore.
Dude,
gotta
she
say.
just like fell off the face of the earth.
I know, it's amazing.
Apparently, like
I'm ready for the memes. Well, they already started. I'm ready for more.
like bailed on when that night she like
No, that's what I was trying to
lost
say
and
before
then took
Tor like
off.
cut me before Tor cut me off. Like that, if that single action did not personify the very thing that this current Democratic Party represents, is a
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah, I
Like-
agree. Yeah, when you said that last week, it's a
Anything would have been
perfect
better.
example.
Crying and saying I hate Donald Trump would have been better than fucking bailing on all these people.
I know, and it's like, these, granted, party shit aside, these people came out for you. These people came to support you. These people probably paid money to come see, like, whatever
Right.
money that they probably didn't really have, because, I mean, fuck, does anyone have
And
money
on
to
top of
donate?
that, probably
I
donated
mean,
to the cause.
donated money. I
Yeah.
mean, took off work, stayed up late. Like, they did it for you. You couldn't even set
Just show up and be like, look, this sucks. We'll talk
It
tomorrow.
really actually paints her as much more horrible
Yeah.
than what she was.
not a fuck you, what do you need, or nothing. Like, they didn't need to do shit.
No, that's what I'm
nothing.
saying. If she would have said "fuck Donald Trump," gone up on stage and said "fuck that old man," I would have respected that more.
Or
than-
I'm going home. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one to swallow.
And
She's not a leader, man. She
Not
doesn't
only
have
so-
any integrity. That's why.
And
It's
I
like-
say that to say that, so not only should the followers, the Democratic, the Democrat folks out there, not only should they be like reflecting on how this happened, but like, thank God. Actually, you should be thanking us for not allowing her to win, because I mean that would have just been, can you imagine?
I did. The other day I was sitting outside in the in the chair,
abandonment.
and
Like
I'm watching
Bernie
this.
Sanders' letter, perfect.
Yeah, no, but I'm watching the sun go down, and I'm thinking, I'm like, this could have so easily been the other way, and what would that feel like right now? It's like that would suck so much if
I
she
really feel
would have
like
won. I don't know.
really feel like how the
That
Republicans
would have
in
been
the
it.
last like 2 months, maybe we'll call it, settled down and stuck just to the issues and didn't get caught up in all the rhetoric. I mean,
It's
honestly,
true.
more than the Rogan and all these other little things that they did, calming down and just sticking to what they want to do for this country was huge, rather than screaming about
Well,
race or binary versus non-binary or border. And then another thing that really nailed it was when he started saying stuff like, we're gonna change how servers.
Yeah, no tax on tips. And then what do you know?
And then she says it like 2 days later, and
Yeah.
then she
It's like you
starts
can't even come up
hurt
with
on
your
the
own
border.
policies. You got to steal his.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like too little, too late. I'm very glad with the outcome. And I think we're gonna find over the next few weeks up until inauguration, we're gonna find that a lot of people that maybe who we know, we didn't think that they were, for Trump, we're gonna find out that they were like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like they voted. Because how can it not be? Like, I mean, the overwhelming majority of the United States voted for him at what was like a 5 million vote difference.
In the popular vote.
That's astounding. That's like,
Republicans got better coverage than Verizon. So
Yeah, I love that thing you sent. Well, also, and I don't have it to show right now, but the graph showing like the total number of votes in the 24, 2016, and 2012 elections, and it's like the Democrat gets like 59,000, and then like 65,000, and then like 82, I mean million, 59 million, 65 million, like 82 million, and then back down to 67 million this time with Kamala. And the Republican, Trump's, he cleared 70 both times, but he kind of got about the same number, I think, this time than he did last time. A little
The
bit more.
man's a force, man.
was it?
But I'm
Vivek
saying,
was-
where did those 15 million votes, like, how did in 2020, how'd they get 15
Vivek
million?
was
Where did those
talking-
voters go? Like,
Yeah, Vivek was talking exactly about what you're talking about.
oh,
I can't remember the outcome of it, but they were talking about these 15 million votes that seemed to appear out of nowhere.
in 2020, because
Biden-
Biden got like 83 million, they said.
yeah, it wasn't because 15 million people turned 18.
Right.
I'm just saying, I'd like to see the report on that stat, because
you guys can't fall for this trap though. Like, I think it was the first time I came on here with you guys, and I said, hey, my opinion on the 2020 election is a little bit different. We all know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is now it's, oh, well, look over there. You guys were right. You got the win. Because let's be real, people that have been just decent people throughout the last handful of years, look, we've been right about just about everything, and everything has not stopped. It hasn't stopped one bit, and the plan, it just, everything is still moving, and everything. There's a plan out there somewhere, and we're not even on the board.
It's just started.
If there's anything we can take from this, is if Trump had anything that would have painted him as like beyond what they're calling him piece of shit. Like if they had any video or sound bites or anything damning, it would have come out in this election cycle.
They were manufacturing them for the last 10 years.
Probably squeaky clean, outside of being a lecherous. But I mean, we all know Kennedy was lecherous. We can go back in history. Bill Clinton getting a blowjob in the Oval Office. We know that goes on.
Yeah, how come everyone's not forgetting about that? He wants to say shit about women. Well, Bill Clinton was getting it with women
in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
the same place that John Jr. was hanging out in the one picture. He was getting head.
Dude, there were a couple boys getting it on in the Senate hearing rooms. I mean,
Oh, that's right.
that handicapped dude that was what was it, state rep? He went and got ousted from all committees because he went and called out DC's filled with orgies and disgusting, filthy people that do atrocious things regularly.
Cawthorn.
This is just business as usual, guys. Like, I'm
That's what I'm
glad
saying.
Trump's
That's
in,
why. That's
but
going back to what I said in the beginning. People just want to have sex with each other. I mean, it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
What you
it's
are.
it's always about JD Vance with you, Des. Every time.
No, it just with the I didn't. That had nothing. That doesn't have anything to do with JD Vance.
You love him, Des.
People just want to have sex with each other.
All the time.
If
And
it feels good and it gets in a hole, fucking, it doesn't matter what gender you are, what you look like.
speaking about
You know
that,
what? Go ahead.
yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, in the whole thing, and this is back when I was young and stupid. Now I'm old and stupid, but when I was young and stupid, at least for me, the whole travesty of the Clinton blowjob in the White House and all that, my biggest problem with that was, why are we spending all this money for something that's not going to take him out of the White House? It was pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It was like, it was more about destroying the Democratic Party's, legitimacy than it was about the actual act. You know what I mean?
Well, and it wasn't about the act, it was about the lying. It wasn't about, he didn't get impeached
He never
for
lied.
doing that in the
Listen, he stood
I
there
did not have sexual
relations with that woman.
and he was pointing to this woman in the back of the room
No.
that he did have sex
Okay.
with.
Dude, he was
It
All right.
depends what is.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? Clint
Never
does have
mind.
some bangers, man. He
He
does have
part-
some bangers.
He was
He
actually
parsed that.
pointing at Hillary.
Listen.
But guys, I gotta cut it and go to work.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me as always. You guys are terrific.
And I got to go to Josh's work. So
Yes, he does.
take care, man.
See you guys.
Take
See
care,
ya.
buddy. We'll see you soon. Good having you on.
Actually, I was gonna say I gotta get rolling too, guys. I'm
We
sorry.
can do that.
I mean, if I go, you guys can stay on if you want.
I got nothing to say to this.
Nothing.
All right, guys. Listen,
Really, her eyes are on JD. Why would she even talk to me?
we've been on for a while, and I think it's about time that we do that thing that we do so well.
All right.
The Friends of Zeus podcast with Zeus and Mike and Tom too, with Desiree and Jack too. Here on the Friends of Zeus podcast. The Friends of Zeus podcast with Zeus and Mike and Tom too, with Desiree and Jack too. Here on the Friends of Zeus podcast.